You are Locked On Notre Dame POSTCAST, part of Locked On Sports Chicago on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
The Notre Dame Fighting Irish moved to 51 or win 7-1. Let's start that over. The Notre Dame Fighting Irish win 51-14, move to 7-1 on the season. My name is Joe George. You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at Joe George Radio. If you're not familiar with what we're doing here, we are doing postcast shows for Notre Dame football. So if you're listening on audio, make sure you head over to the YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button, and give us a listen and subscribe. And we'll be here after every single Notre Dame football game, after every Chicago Bears football game, the Bears, the Bulls, the Cubs, and all, like I said, all the Irish games from now through hopefully a long run in the college football playoff. Let's get into today's game. The offense dominated. They got a ton of turnovers in this game. Did Notre Dame's defense and special teams. Not a lot forced themselves, but 6 turnovers on the day. And how this game impacts Notre Dame's chances at the college football playoff, how it improves them, in my view, because of the style points that they were able to put up in this one. So let's talk about this offense today for Notre Dame. Couple things stand out. I want to start with the first offensive possession of the second half, actually, today. The Navy comes out, and they score a touchdown right away in the second half. And it leads you to this question, kind of in your mind right away. It's like, okay, is Navy going to make a run here? Are they going to make it, difficult for Notre Dame and actually give them a run for their money in the second half? Like, how will they answer? How will they respond? And they came out in the perfect way. They end up with a 3rd and short. They convert. They get a penalty. Riley Leonard converts once again. Huge positive right there. And then they just keep moving the ball down the field. A big run. You have the big run from Riley Leonard, and then he connects to Collins for a 20-plus yard touchdown. And that was his 3rd completion of 20-plus yards on the day. So what's a 17-point lead? 31-14. Still think Navy should have gone for 2 to make it a 16-point game. They pointed that out on the broadcast. Kind of strange that they didn't do that, try to make it a 2-possession game instead of a 3-possession game. Alas, Notre Dame goes in, they score, and at that point, the game's over. You responded in a way that demoralized Navy. Any hope that they, the players, the fans, people that support this team had after that first touchdown was completely washed away in that moment. So that's where I want to start with the offense in this game and just how pleased I was with Notre Dame. It was a huge impact for them to do that, because you get the nervous feelings in your gut when you're watching Notre Dame football. Like, I've been a Notre Dame fan my entire life. My dad raised me as a Notre Dame fan, and there are times when we expect the worst, and thankfully they came out and answered in a big way. So we'll work our way backwards now a little bit, because that was such an impressive drive in the second half, and really just what sealed the game. And pretty much at that point, it was over, and we really didn't see even the starters. They didn't even finish the whole game, which is not a surprise. But Riley Leonard in this game, 3 for 3 on 20-plus yard throws, something I've been wanting all season long. Thinking back to after his first year starting in college, there was a lot of hype around him. You'd see like these way too early mock drafts for, I guess it would have been last year's draft, and obviously he didn't come out, or 2 years ago's draft at this point even. And, they're saying could be a top 5 pick, could be a top 10 pick. We just haven't seen that guy, since his first year starting at Duke. He had the injuries, and last year was, obviously tough for him with that. But then this year, we haven't seen him throw the ball deep down the field very often. And one of the things I've been hoping for from Notre Dame is to see them push the ball down the field, not just rely on the run game. And that's what they did in this one. It's only 3 completions, it's only 3 attempts of 20-plus yards, but it is a impactful thing for me, because I want more of it. I'm greedy. I want more offense. I want more style points. And when you look at their remaining schedule and the fact that they don't play a ton of great teams, and this will kind of tie into the end of the show as well when we talk about the college football playoff impact that this game had and could have for Notre Dame, pushing the ball down the field is going to be huge for them. But Notre Dame did what they do best. They ran the football. This team runs the ball so well. And they have for, Marcus Freeman, his entire tenure pretty much, Brian Kelly, a lot of that as well. But they run the ball very well. Jeremiyah Love, 12 carries, 102 yards, 2 touchdowns. Riley Leonard, 83 rushing yards, 1 touchdown. Then Leonard had 13 to 21 for 178 passing yards for 2 TDs. 143 of that came in the first half, and they took their foot off the gas in the second half with him throwing the ball. But getting 5 touchdowns from Leonard and Love is what's going to be what drives this team going forward. What makes them a college football playoff team and a team that can finish 11-1 in the regular season. Those are the two guys we all know you have to rely on. Jeremiyah Love specifically. Like, when Riley Leonard struggles, because we know he will, and I was at the Texas A&M game where he just was not, it was a tough day for him, obviously. It's been a tough season for him for the most part. But Love can be the, that bell cow back that we've seen guys like Kyron Williams be, or Estime be last year for Notre Dame. He's not, the same build as Estime, but he can be a very effective runner. So to see him again just have another big day, it's not a surprise anymore. Seeing him rush for less than 100 yards is probably more a surprise at this point for Notre Dame. So just keep riding your guys with Love and Leonard and let them do what they do best, and that's run the football. But if you can evolve as the season goes on, and you can add in, some 20-plus yard chunk plays to the passing game, that's going to be such an impactful thing for Notre Dame. So A-plus day for the offense. You scored 51 points, even though a lot of those were off unforced turnovers, which we'll get into here in a second. But they turn the ball over, you take advantage, you score. You had the missed field goal, whatever. It's pretty much the only thing about this game. There's really only 2 negative things from this game that stood out on offense and defense, and really not even offense. I guess, like, if I want to be real nitpicky, Riley Leonard could be better than 13-21 from the pocket, or throwing the ball like a higher completion percentage, I guess, but that feels super nitpicky at this point. 51 points is a good accomplishment. Putting a 50 burger on a top 25 team has to mean something for Notre Dame and their long-term hopes. So good win today from the offense. Good day from the offense. Really just all positives all around. Not much else to say about what they did on that side. When you beat a team that badly, there's not as many nooks and crannies that we can go through in this offense, but just a wonderful, wonderful day from the Notre Dame Fighting Irish in their offense. Way to be prepared and not, let down your team when your defense, is always good, but the offense carried the way a lot in this one. So when we get back here, turnover machine and the 2 negatives that we'll nitpick a little bit. We'll do that next here on the Locked On Irish Postcast on the Locked On Sports Chicago YouTube channel. ZBiotics Pre Alcohol probiotic drink is the world's first genetically engineered probiotic. It was invented by PhD scientists to tackle rough mornings after drinking. Here's how it works. When you drink alcohol, that gets converted into a toxic byproduct in the gut. This byproduct, not dehydration, that's the blame for your next rough day. Pre-alcohol produces an enzyme to break this byproduct down. Just remember to make ZBiotics your first drink of the night. Drink responsibly and you'll feel better tomorrow. Here's how to use it. 3 simple steps. Step 1, drink pre-alcohol. For the best results, make pre-alcohol your first drink of the night. Step 2, drink responsibly. Pace yourself, hydrate, always important, and get a good night's sleep. Step 3, enjoy tomorrow. Wake up feeling refreshed and ready to take on the day. I just got some. It's on the way. Can't wait to do this so I can go out with my wife, have a good time, and be ready to take care of our 3-year-old the next day. Go to ZBiotics.com/LockedOnCollege to learn more and get 15% off your first order when you use Locked On College at checkout. ZBiotics is backed with a 100% money-back guarantee, so if you're unsatisfied for any reason, they'll refund your money, no questions asked. Remember, head to ZBiotics.com/LockedOnCollege and use the code LockedOnCollege at checkout for 15% off. PrizePicks joined over 10 million users on PrizePicks today. Sign up, get in there, have some fun during the football season, baseball season, whatever you want to do, all available at PrizePicks. When you sign up today, you get $50 instantly when you play $5. Best part, you don't even have to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. PrizePicks is the best way to win real money, and you can make your picks in less than 60 seconds. This week on PrizePicks, I'm looking at the football board. I'm rolling with Caleb Williams, more than 1.5 touchdowns against the Washington Commanders. Lamar Jackson, more than a half a passing touchdown this weekend. And then Derrick Henry and Bijan Robinson, both more than a rushing plus receiving touchdown. Download the app today and use Locked On College to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks, run your game. All right, let's talk about the turnovers that happened in this game, the defense, and we'll nitpick two things that happened for the Irish in their 51-14 win over the Navy Midshipmen. 6 turnovers is an impressive number no matter how you got them. And Navy did their part. They did their part all day long. Not a lot of forced turnovers. Really, I think they said on the broadcast, I think actually all 6 will not be considered takeaways in this game. I'm going to give Notre Dame, the biased fan, benefit of the doubt here and say that they would have got that strip sack that turned into a touchdown if he didn't just fumble the ball. You really have to question why Navy. I don't know what Navy's backup quarterback depth chart looks like, so I can't sit here and act like they have a better option. But when your quarterback can't hold on to the football and is having issues where even in the second half, that first possession, the big pass play they have, starts because he can't get the snap, has to pull some magic out, throws the ball down the field and gets lucky. So that's something that, it is what it is. But you get 6 turnovers. That's a huge win. Navy is a team that only had 2 turnovers this entire season. Both were interceptions, and they were plus 12 on the season for turnovers. So that is something that, going into the game, you would think Notre Dame would not have major success with, is taking the ball away. And like I just said, Navy gave you the ball on almost all those chances. But part of that, I think we got to credit back to just the team as a whole. That even though they are, unforced errors because of injury or whatever, you are still taking advantage when you have it. You're still scoring touchdowns on defense. You're still recovering that ball in the end zone. You're still converting touchdowns on short yardage situations after a turnover into a touchdown. So even though they're not takeaways, the execution of what you got from them is a huge win for Notre Dame in this game. And the other thing I would look at is the pressure you're putting on them on players that are a bit inexperienced. And you're going to face that a lot over the next couple of weeks. Florida State, Virginia, Army, USC, teams that, really USC is the only one that's going to super experienced. I'm sure Army's got quite a bit of guys that have been there for a while as well. But, this is a team that if you score a lot of points for Notre Dame and you play defense the way you do, you're going to force mistakes. And I think the 2 you can look at specifically are the 2 punt return plays. That, that first one, the punt returner for Navy is running towards the ball really for no reason and trying to catch it because he feels like he has to make a play in that moment. He muffs it, Notre Dame gets the ball. The other one was a little bit weirder, but at the end of the day, you got 6 turnovers, and that's an impressive accomplishment. No matter how you draw it up, no matter how you got them, that's a big win for Marcus Freeman, this defense, and the special teams. If you can win the turnover battle, it's cheesy. We all know it. But they won the turnover battle this game by 6. So you're not going to lose football games that way. So kudos to them for making big plays, and kudos to the offense for answering, after your defense got lucky sometimes and your special teams got lucky sometimes and getting the ball and turning those things into actual points. Things you can nitpick in this game. If I'm going to find things, try to find something. Just because even in a game in which you win, not every single thing can be positive. We got to find out what Notre Dame can do better as they look forward to go the rest of the season. So really there's one thing we'll start with Horvath, the quarterback from Navy. He rushed for 129 yards and a touchdown. Even as you say that, you have to remember he had a 47-yard rushing touchdown and a 60-yard run in the second half. And that led to the Navy first score of the second half. So he got 107 of his 129 rushing yards on 2 plays. So he had 12 carries for 22 yards. So even though I'm going to nitpick here, that's still a huge win against a guy where if you've watched any of his highlights, that's what I was kind of doing. I was just kind of watching highlights on every Navy game I could to try to figure out what they were doing before this game. It was a very, they had some big plays. Marcus Freeman talked about it, going to halftime, got to find a way to, that was a mistake that they made. That stuff can't happen. The 47-yard rushing touchdown. So those things you can clean up, but it was just a near perfect day. I mean, even, on that touchdown drive, we just talked about with the turnover, it is a broken play in which it's just backyard football, chaos is happening, and Horvath does a really good job throwing the ball up there and completing. Another positive with the defense here, was Teska. Teska's a good running back. He was a lot of fun to watch, going through all the highlights and seeing what he was doing, a couple touchdowns in their last game for Navy, running the ball and receiving it. So I thought that was another one, just shutting him down to 33 rushing yards on the day, 39 receiving yards, 33 rushing yards for Tesco was a huge win for the Notre Dame defense. So that's really my nitpick. I guess it's only one thing, like I said earlier in the show. Maybe Riley Leonard completion percentage or taking more deep shots down the field is something that when you're winning by this much, maybe you can try to open up the offense a little bit more. But just overall, nothing to nitpick even. But you get the 6 turnovers, you get 5 touchdowns between Riley Leonard and Jeremiyah Love. Huge day for the Fighting Irish. Fun one too. And look, it will matter. It will matter. This game does matter. There will be national media members that, come out on Monday. And, we talked about this when I joined Locked On Irish, earlier this week for the first time, which thank you guys for listening to that if you did or watching that. We talked about this where if how this game played out happened, which is, a blowout, come Monday morning, what the national media, the college football analysts will try to tell you is that Notre Dame didn't play anyone because Navy's overrated. That we overvalued Navy and what they had accomplished this year, because when you look at their schedule, they've played nobody. Memphis is probably the best team they played, and that game had like 110 combined points. It was a shootout, but they haven't really played anyone a quality opponent this season. So people are going to try to hold that against Notre Dame. I don't think they should. I think you can only play who's in front of you, and right now all Notre Dame can do is focus on going to 11-1. I would say forgetting about NIU. I guess I was not aware of this, that Marcus Freeman shows the guys, the team, the end of the NIU game before every game during the week. I appreciate that. I think that, it's, if it motivates your guys, if it works, it keeps them from not overlooking a team like Navy and Virginia and Florida State and Army and USC the rest of the season, your remaining schedule. That's something that, you got to do. So I'm all for that as well. So when we get back, let's talk about the college football playoff impact of this game, because I do think that this game matters a lot for that, because Navy's ranked, because in the way in which you won. So we'll do that next year on the Locked On Irish postcast on the Locked On Chicago YouTube channel.
Today's episode is presented by FanDuel. Hey, NFL fans, you could start the season with a big return on FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. So when you get a hunch in the middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets. And you'll get started with $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet. And if you're looking for something to bet on with that first $5 bet, we've got another one for you. I know this sounds crazy. I am taking the Browns +9 against the Baltimore Ravens. The Browns have been terrible. They've been one of the worst teams in football this year. However, Deshaun Watson is not going to be the starting quarterback. It's going to be Jameis Winston. I think that this team is going to be galvanized without Watson on the field and that just black cloud hanging over the entire franchise. I think they're going to come out with more passion and with more of a fire than they have in weeks. Don't think they're going to win, but I do think they're going to cover. +9 is a lot of points. And for more, just visit FanDuel.com today.
All right, let's talk about the college football playoff impact of this game. Notre Dame wins 51-14. They beat the number 24 team in the country. Obviously, as we do this show live, there's a lot to, break down of what's going to happen. There's still A&M, LSU, all this stuff. The only really impactful games is Indiana, Ohio State. Both have won today of teams that are in front of you as we do this show live. So Tyler will have a lot more on that here on the Locked On Irish YouTube channel or on the Locked On Irish YouTube channel and the audio channel as well, just breaking down everything that's happening around college football. But this game does matter to me for what Notre Dame is trying to accomplish this season. That after the NIU loss, it does set you back. It does set you back that you don't play a good Florida State team, that you don't play a good USC team. So you have one more ranked game at this moment versus Army on your schedule, but you had to start winning with some style points. That was something that going into this game, the rest of the season, what I was hoping, what frustrated me with their last win was there was that lack of style points. And part of it is Riley Leonard not pushing the ball down the field, which is why I was so excited about this game, just to see that 3 for 3, 20-plus yards down the field completion, that last touchdown to Collins was huge for him. And I really just want to see a lot more of it because they can run the ball and they can play defense. But just to convince the College Football Playoff Committee that Notre Dame belongs as, on their football merit, then I think you got to start winning these games by quite a few points like you did today. You don't have to put a 50-burger up against, every single team you play or win by, 30-plus points. But to win by double digits. Look, you're going to be favored. I'll put it this way. They're going to be favored by, I would guess, at a minimum of 6.5 points every single game the rest of the season. I would be shocked unless USC does some magic here in the Big Ten that Notre Dame will be favored by more than 6.5 in every single game. Whatever the line is, cover it. Like that will satisfy me the rest of the season. So if you're favored by 13, win by 14. You're favored by 20, win by 21. Notre Dame should be able to do that the rest of the season. That will help convince the playoff committee that you belong in there convincingly. Now, look, I don't think there's any world in which Notre Dame goes 11-1 and gets left out. Notre Dame is way too important to the sport, to the brand. The brand is too important to everything, to just college football in general. The eyeballs that it will bring. The people who want Notre Dame to lose will watch them play, to hope that what's happened in the past in the college football playoff will happen again. We don't want that. We want them to have success, obviously, but they matter. And we all know that they matter. We all know that it annoys people that how much they matter. So if they go 11-1, I don't think they will have an issue making the college football playoff. So what I'm looking for with these style points is I'm looking for a home playoff game. And that's the kind of win that today I think starts to put you on that trajectory. That you can be, at home hosting Boise State or LSU or Texas A&M. Might be interesting to see that rematch in the college football playoff in South Bend, Indiana. So that's what I'm hoping for the Irish. And that's why today's win, even though it's Navy, even though maybe they aren't as good as we thought they were, that's why this game does matter, in which the style of football that you played and that you won, that you forced 6 turnovers, that you had 5 touchdowns between Leonard and Jeremiyah Love. I think it's going to go a long way because the chaos that's going to unfold in front of you, you got 2 Big 12 teams in front of you, you got a couple ACC teams in front of you, and then you've got this SEC Big Ten chaos that's still yet to unfold. So if I was going to call my shot right now, I think Notre Dame probably gets as high as 6 or 7. The real question we don't know is how they will react to teams that, if they get a third loss of the season, if it happens in a conference title game, how that will happen. But we know that Notre Dame can't afford another loss. And this will just help make their case easier. So if there is a really good 3-loss SEC team, my wonder, well, even though Notre Dame's the brand that they are, let's say there's a 3-loss SEC loser and a team who lost in the championship game. If it's them versus Notre Dame for, let's say, the final spot, let's say it just plays out that way and they don't view Notre Dame's schedule as important enough, what will be the differentiators for Notre Dame besides having 1 loss versus, random SEC's 3 losses? I think it's games like this. So that's why today's game, I think, has a huge impact on their college football playoff hopes, not just from securing a spot, even though, like I said, I think they're in if they're 11-1 because of the brand of Notre Dame and what that means for TV ratings. They say that stuff doesn't matter. They lie to you. It absolutely does matter. At Notre Dame, Texas, Georgia, if Alabama had a shot, which they don't, Miami, those games, Ohio State, those teams matter for the college football playoff committee as they go from 4 teams to 12 teams. And I'm fascinated to see what it looks like when they do the television show for the first time. Are they going to try to troll us? Are they going to put Notre Dame at 12 or leave them out? Are they going to put Notre Dame too high and piss off the rest of the country? I'm fascinated to see what the Notre Dame Fighting Irish, when the college football playoff TV show actually kicks off for the first time here. I think it's the next week and a half. We get that. So a lot of fun in today's game. Kudos to Marcus Freeman and having his team prepared. If it's the NIU video, show it for the rest of time, not just the season. Just show it forever so you don't have a repeat of Marshall, Stanford, NIU on your resume again. I really want to believe in Marcus Freeman long term, so never want to see one of those again. But a game like today helps out a lot. We just see the success that this team had offensively and defensively. Keep pushing the ball down the field, please, because I love seeing Leonard have some confidence and actually do that. Appreciate you guys checking us out. You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at Joe George Radio. Make sure you subscribe to the Locked On Sports Chicago YouTube channel if you're here for the first time, or if you're listening on audio. We'll be doing postcast shows for the Bears, Bulls, Cubs, and all Notre Dame football games. If you're new to the YouTube channel and you're not subscribed to Locked On Irish on YouTube or on your audio platforms as well, make sure you hit that, check that out. Tyler had me on last week. A lot of fun. Real cool dude. Looking forward to watching a lot more of his content this season. So thank you for checking us out. Let's go Irish. We will talk to you after the bye week. Peace.